Christians around the world prepare to celebrate what happened over 2,000 years ago in the little town of Bethlehem. The Jewish nation of Israel is celebrating this season for the first time with all of its living hostages back home. So there's a little extra joy this year in the Holy Land. But with the ceasefire in Gaza remaining fragile, we're reminded that true peace comes only when the Prince of Peace will reign there forever. Now, we're going to look at this Christmas and kind of what the sense of things are there in Israel, in the Middle East, with our good friend Chris Mitchell, who is the Middle East Bureau Chief for CBN News. Chris, welcome to Washington Watch and Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you, Tony, from the Holy Land. Great to see you.
Well, we were talking with Ambassador Mike Huckabee. It's his first Christmas there. It's not your first Christmas. You've been there many Christmases, but it is still special, is it not?
It is. Just around the corner, the YMCA. I was just there this evening. It's lit up with a Christmas tree and a lot of lights. And to realize that I'm sitting just about 5 miles away from the Church of the Nativity, the traditional site of where Jesus was born. So it is very special to be here on Christmas Day, and yet, you know, if you're here, you don't necessarily see it or experience it the same way you do, like in the United States. There's not a lot of Christmas decorations all over the country, but in places like Bethlehem and the YMCA, Christchurch, you've been there many times, Tony, or Nazareth, where there's a large Arab Christian population. You get to get a feel of the season and then enjoy it just like everybody else in many other countries.
I was there last year at the 1st of December, and over in the kind of the Christian sector of Jerusalem, it was kind of interesting. I saw a lot of Christmas trees. They look like those Charlie Brown Christmas trees, but they had a number of Christmas trees over there.
They really do. They are Charlie Brown Christmas trees. We got one year, and actually the Jerusalem municipality will give out Christmas trees to Christians, but it's not sort of something like Michigan or Minnesota, a very healthy looking evergreen.
Yeah, I was wondering at first, what are those? It looked just like a Charlie Brown tree. All right, let's talk about this Christmas compared to last year. Things are significantly different there in Israel.
What a difference a year can make. Last year there was still fighting going on with Hezbollah and Hamas, still fighting going on there too, but not at the scale there was. The danger of an existential threat here in Israel, a nuclear Iran, has been greatly reduced, if not eliminated, at least for the foreseeable future. I would add that Iran still wants to get a nuclear weapon, but it looks like Israel and or the U.S. would do what they can to stop that again. So a big difference in what the threats that we're facing Israel right now. Two things I would say, Tony. As you mentioned, all the living hostages are back in Israel. That is a huge emotional, mental, psychological relief for the people of Israel and all the people who are praying for these hostages. And I would add, there are remarkable testimonies from many of these hostages that felt the presence of God there in those tunnels. Just remarkable answer to prayers for people that had praying for their survival, that they would survive the torture and the degradation, and yet many did. And the other thing, Tony, I would think that we're also seeing the rise, tragically, of anti-Semitism around the world. Just a few days ago there in Sydney, Australia. That's another thing that people really need to pray about and be concerned about for our Jewish brothers and sisters.
So let's talk about that for just a moment, Chris Mitchell. When there's relief, the war appears to be moving toward a path of peace. There's not the rockets and the missiles coming in this Christmas. But yet, as you pointed out, what happened just recently there in Australia, a reminder that there is still this spirit of hatred, this what I would describe as a demonic spirit that continues to express itself against the Jewish people in acts of violence. So, I mean, it's like, yes, there's relief, but not totally.
No, and I think we're in a kind of an uncertain time, Tony, and much of that Jew hatred, that anti-Semitism, that came nearly just right after October 7th. when you would think there would be a great outpouring of sympathy and support. There was actually a dramatic rise of this anti-Semitism, rallies of pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, from the river to the sea, which is actually a genocidal chant. So there is, while there is many of the direct threats of Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran have been mitigated greatly, still a great time of uncertainty, which way Gaza is going to go, which way Syria is going to go, and/or Iran, and certainly what threats are going to face the Jewish people in this coming year.
Chris, we're up against the break here, just about 45 seconds left. When we come back, I want to talk about Syria, because that is yet another reminder of the volatility of that region. Yes, Iran no longer, at least at present, a nuclear threat. We see Hezbollah has been, in many ways, defanged. Hamas basically quarantined. Syria, kind of an unknown. We don't know what is going to play out there. So we want to talk about that when we come back. So, Chris, stick with us. Chris, thanks so much for sticking with us.
Great to be with you again, Tony.
So your assessment, al-Sharaa, first year in office as the Syrian president, is he someone the U.S. can trust?
Well, Tony, I think he's made a great effort of presenting himself to the West as a statesman, as somebody that has put his ISIS affiliation, or maybe should I say al-Qaeda affiliation, behind him. But I think there's a lot of questions here in Israel and the wider Middle East, as well as some. I'll give you an example. 1 year after the fall of the Assad regime and the takeover by what's called HTS, and that was an Islamist group, and led by al-Julani, that was his nom du jour. Now he's called al-Sharaa. Now, during that military march, they were chanting what's called Khaybar, Khaybar. Now, many people may not be aware what that is, but it goes back to 628, where there was a time when Muslims attacked Khaybar. That was a Jewish community, and did a massacre. So they are chanting what had been sort of part of the militant Islam. And so many people are concerned. Are they changing? Have we seen the rise of an Islamist regime, an Islamist army, rather than what people hope would be more of a moderate kind of government? I think the jury is out. I would say Minister Amichai Chikli, based after this military parade, said he believes that war with Syria might be inevitable. So we're in a very uncertain time with Syria as its Israel's neighbor to its north.
It reminds me a lot from the United States perspective of Afghanistan. You don't know who you can trust. I mean, we had 2 Iowa National Guard soldiers that were killed in an attack in Syria. Others were wounded. The attacker, apparently a jihadist member of the new Syrian armed forces. I mean, how do you know who to trust?
Yeah, well, in the last year, we've had massacres of the Alawites, the former regime, the party of Bashar Assad, and then we had a massacre of the Druze by some of the elements of the Syrian army. So you have to judge, I guess, by what the actions are going on in Syria right now, rather than maybe some of the rhetoric.
Well, in other parts of the world, most recently in Nigeria, where we have declared that we, the United States, a country of particular concern, something we were advocating for, I was advocating for as the former chair of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. But Nigeria, the point there was the Nigerian government wasn't doing the persecution or the killing of Christians, but they were allowing it to happen. I mean, if you apply that standard to Syria, now I understand that the country is fragmented, there's issues there, but this appears at some point in time, the new president is going to have to be able to exercise control to protect religious minorities.
You would hope so, Tony. And I know he's perhaps right now in the middle, if he's trying to develop a moderate regime. He has a host of supporters that are Islamists, that were going into southern Syria and massacring Druze because they were infidels. So some people wonder, how can he manage both reaching out to the West, appearing moderate, a statesman, and also controlling many of the people in the military parade, perhaps, or some of the elements of his army that are Islamists and want to reestablish a caliphate and slaughter infidels, which is what has happened.
In the recently passed National Defense Authorization Act, there was a provision to revoke the Caesar Act, a provision to repeal a set of U.S. sanctions on Syria. There were some members that expressed real concern about that, but the administration wanted them lifted. Is that a mistake, in your opinion?
Well, we'll see. And those sanctions have been put on for many years on the Bashar Assad regime. That really frees up a lot of the economy, but it remains to be seen how those new funds and wealth are going to be used by the Syrian regime going forward. For the last year, the record doesn't really look too good, Tony.
Let me ask you this question, Chris, as we wrap up our time together, just a little over a minute left. How you made reference to the anti-Semitism, the rise of that, the instability that continues, even though there is some managed peace there in the Middle East, in Israel in particular. How should Christians here in the United States be praying for our brothers and sisters in Christ and the Jewish people and others there in the Middle East?
Well, first of all, I think they should sign up for your Journey Through the Bible plan. I think knowing the Word, it makes a huge difference in a believer's life. And I think praying for great wisdom for leaders who are making, life and death, historic decisions, certainly for President Trump and all his advisors, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Obviously, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and pray for the protection of all the religious minorities here in the region. And I think pray, too, that people would be informed, be like the sons of Issachar who understood the times. That's what you try to do every day on Washington Watch, Tony, and what you do, give people a biblical worldview of what's happening. Well, and we always appreciate you joining us, Chris, to help us understand better what is happening on the ground there in Israel. Again, thanks for joining us. Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming year in Israel. Thank you.